You are welcome back. It is still Nigerian's economy today coming to you from Super Screen Television. It's often said that you can buy the best of insurance and obtain value for money when you buy through an intermediary, which is known as insurance brokers. What are the roles of insurance brokers in the insurance value chain? How can you assess insurance brokers? Joining me in the studio is an insurance broker, Mr. Tunde Thomas. He will be shedding light on the roles of insurance brokers in the insurance value chain. Mr. Thomas, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me this afternoon.
And thank you for finding time to join us on the program. Yeah, Mr. Thomas, what are the job functions of insurance brokers in the nation's economy?
The functions of insurance brokers, it's very important to the continuous existence of insurance business.
Okay.
In every relationship, you have two or more people in that relationship. So insurance brokers is the one who midwife
Okay.
the buyers and the sellers of insurance, to make it very simple.
Okay.
What do I mean by midwifing? The insurance companies are the sellers of insurance. While the buyers are the public, could be an organization, whether corporate or public sector organization, that has need for insurance. And insurance, we discover insurance is very complex in nature. So you need an expert who will midwife this relationship between the seller and the buyers. Minding the fact that behind the buyers, we still have another extended buyers. And behind the sellers too, we have extended sellers. For the sellers, for me, I like to call them the manufacturer of insurance.
Okay.
And those are the insurance companies.
Okay.
You only see them in the showroom. But behind the sellers of the insurance companies, you now have the midwife, who is a distributor.
Okay.
And you see this one most often both in the showroom and at the workshop. Because the workshop of insurance resides in the insurance brokers.
Okay. Interesting. You have just taken us to another dimension.
Non-insurance relationship.
That's very good. Okay, let me take this other question. What can stakeholders do differently in a bid to earn better recognition for the practice of insurance brokers?
Yeah, stakeholders. Let's define the stakeholders first.
Okay.
So that our viewers can understand who are the stakeholders in the insurance business. We have the regulator representing the government. And what they do is to regulate the conduct of insurance business in Nigeria. And here the regulator is called NICOM, National Insurance Commission, who is led by the Commissioner for Insurance. Then we have the buyers too, they are stakeholders. We have the public sector buyers, and we have the private sector buyers, and we have the individual buyers. We have the individual buyers, so they are equally stakeholders in the insurance sector. Then we have another players too, who is equally a regulator.
Okay.
Okay? And that is FIRS. They are regulators. When you buy and sell, you must ensure you pay the government tax. So they are stakeholders. Then we have the insurance brokers and insurance agents. They are equally stakeholders. These are the midwives of the insurance business. Then we have the adjusters. In the event of a loss occurring, these are the people or the stakeholder who goes to the location of the loss and establish the extent of loss and the cause of loss and advise the insurance company. Okay. And we have some stakeholders too, who could be medical experts, lawyers. So the stakeholders is not limited. Depends on the nature of the business. Particular cost.
Talking about the insurance broker as a stakeholder, can insurance be purchased without having the insurance broker there?
It can be purchased, but it's not advisable.
So tell us the critical thing that the insurance brokers...
The insurance brokers, they understand the nitty-gritty of insurance.
Okay.
One, the pricing of insurance, you may not understand. You want to buy insurance, you will not understand the pricing of insurance. Before you come to the pricing, you need to identify the risk you are exposed to. The insurance brokers will help the client, who is the insured, to identify the risks that the client is exposed to and advise the client appropriate insurance products. I won't advise the client the appropriate insurance product. He will now use his skill and experience to look for the right underwriting firm. I'll be using the word interchangeably. You have the underwriters, you have the insurer, it's the same thing. So the right underwriting firm that you place the insurance business to. So you must do the placement. After assessing the risk, the exposure, you do the placement. After the placement, you ensure that premium is paid. And the premium to be paid here will be a premium that is reasonable enough for your client. You are there to protect the interest of the client, who is the insured. So the insured, if it goes directly to the insurance company, it may not be able to benefit from the knowledge and expertise of the broker. Then, when the policy document is issued, it is the insurance broker who will go through the policy document and extract the clauses and see those clauses that are not too good for his insured. And we immediately communicate the insurance company that, please, can you redraft this particular clause or you delete it from the policy?
Okay.
If those clauses are not taken care of at the inception of cover, they may become an issue when there is a claim.
Okay.
Apart from that, after the insurance has been placed, the insurance broker keep advising the insured. If there is any policy that will affect the insurance that has been arranged, he must advise the insured of that thing that will affect the insurance that has been arranged. And it will equally inform the client. If you acquire more or additional assets, you must inform me so that I will inform the insurance company who can place it into the policy that is running. If not, that particular asset is not covered. The insurance broker will equally advise the client. This is the advisory services provided. That, okay, if you are moving from location A to location B, let me know so that I can advise the insurance company. Because if they are not advised, you move from location A to, if there is a loss in location B, they are not aware that you have moved your property to location B. They still have A in mind. If a loss occurred, they will tell you, sorry, we are not on risk. And truly, they are not on risk. We have so many functions of the insurance brokers.
Okay, we have taken note of the advisory nature of the role of the insurance brokers. But now, let me quickly get to the viewers at home. We are discussing the role of insurance brokers in the insurance value chain. And I'd like to open up the telephone lines for viewers to join in this conversation. You can call us on the numbers that you are seeing on the screen of your television. You can also ask questions. Mr. Thomas is here to answer all your questions. Now, Mr. Thomas, you have told us about the role of the insurance brokers. Now, as a customer of insurance, as a potential customer of insurance, wouldn't I be paying more going through an insurance broker rather than go straight to the insurance companies?
Oh, I love this question. And you are not paying more. You are paying the exact amount that would have been due for payment if you had gone directly.
Okay.
But it is the insurance company who now pays the insurance broker's remuneration. It is called commission.
Okay.
And nobody hands commission if you are not a registered insurance broker or an agent. So registered and recognized and licensed by the National Insurance Commission. So you're not paying more. Instead, you might be paying less. Yes. Because the insurance broker would assess the risk and knows the particular risk that you required and not the one that you don't require. I'll give you a case study.
All right.
Okay. Somebody needed a group personal accident. He needed a group life insurance. He's a key man, so he wanted a key man insurance.
Okay.
And he was offered a group personal accident insurance. In place of a key man, it was a wrong product. So the insurance broker will tell you, no, the insurance broker will tell the product that fits your need. It's not tailor size, no. The product we offer or the service what is not tailor size services. It's the service that fits your need. We just don't recommend. Would have sat down, profile your business, provide the risk exposure. And that's part of our job, profiling the risk exposure and advise the client what to pay. You're not paying more. Rather, you may even pay less. But if you bring a volume-driven account, you might be looking at you might be having a discount. If it's a volume-driven, the discount that is permissible and allowed by the regulator.
Okay, no matter how, it is still very good to go through the intermediary, which is an insurance broker.
Yeah, it's very important. Okay. It's like you going to court without going with a lawyer. Yes, the judge will listen to you, but you may shoot yourself in the leg. That is another nice analogy.
Now, I was made to understand that there are some insurance policies that are compulsory. No. Now, what can the government do to enforce compliance of those compulsory insurance? For instance, we have building insurance, we have third-party motor insurance. What can be done to enforce the full compliance of these insurance policies?
Yeah, compulsory insurance is incorporated in the Insurance Act of 2003.
Okay.
So it's not new. But yes, the compliance is the key thing. And when we're talking about compliance, we're talking about enforcement. Then whose responsibility it is to enforce law in our land? Is it the operators of insurance? Or the agency with that responsibility of enforcement as established by the Constitution? Yes, insurance operators are private individuals or private organizations. And they may not have the resources of enforcement. But the government has the resources for enforcement. And the government must do this enforcement. But then, the insurance operators will not fold their hands for enforcement. Some years back from the history of insurance, when there was this fire, when fire insurance started in Britain, they had a very bad experience. And the insurance company that feels that, let us have a tag that will put in front of every building that has been insured with us. So if there is fire, we know that this is our building, and send in the right agent to extinguish the fire. But then with the right agents here for enforcement will be the Nigerian Police Force.
Okay.
So I think the operators and the government should have this bio relationship that will bring about this enforcement. Yes, compulsory insurance. You're talking about building. That section 64 of the Insurance Act talks about building under construction. And section 65 talks about public building.
Okay.
What are they driving at? We want to look at what is the philosophy, the objective of that particular section or that particular compulsory insurance is to protect the innocent public that may suffer loss, bodily injury, or death due to the operation of that particular business or that particular outfit. And that's what that's what the law is trying to protect. And they are saying that, yes, let us have this insurance in place. So that even if the building collapses, or if there's a fire in a building, and somebody who is a visitor, a third party, suffers loss, that is the essence of, it's called liability insurance.
All right.
That's the essence of that insurance, so that they can be compensated. Let's use that word, compensated. Yes. For medical expenses.
You see, where I'm actually driving to is the fact that we have quite a number of buildings in this country that have collapsed. And when such things happens, people usually run to government for assistance. I mean, rather than running to government, the insurance should be able to settle it. But most of those buildings are not insured. What steps can be taken to ensure that all buildings are insured?
I think the first thing is to take the data of buildings in the country. I was very holistic about it. I'm very transparent. How many buildings do we have? Standard buildings do we have in Nigeria or do we have in Lagos State? And the law says 2 stories and above. So now we are doing segmentation now. How many 2 stories and above building do we have? And
While we are continuing with that question,
Yes.
who takes the responsibility for taking the data of those buildings?
no, that's why we're going to have this relationship between
Okay.
the operators and the government. Lagos State government has safety agency. And the federal government has a safety agency too. This agency can come into relationship with insurance industry. And they can do this because what is important is the protection of the public. And if the insurance company are those that can provide the financial protection, because what we see is what matters most to anybody is financial panic. And if there's a loss, it causes financial panic. Where will I get the money from? And that insurance say that, come to us, we'll give you the money. The broker says, no, come through me, and you get your claim if it happens. But if there is no claim, you cannot get. If you don't apply for visa, you can't get visa to UK. You must apply it first. I'm not saying that the law says it is compulsory that you apply for this visa.
Okay.
Do you understand? The visa for insurance, compulsory insurance, is that it is compulsory. Apply for this visa for building under construction or public buildings. Most structures that are collapsing are private buildings.
Okay.
You can see now, we begin to define. And the laws went ahead under section 2, section 6, subsection 2, defines what a public building is. It says a tenement building, whether a house, whether an hotel, whether a recreation area that people have egress into.
That's a public building.
Yeah, it defines the public building.
Okay.
And they go there to carry out business transactions. If you go to a casino, if you go to an hotel, it's a public building.
So a public building is not a building that is necessarily built by government.
No.
Okay, I'm enjoying this.
You understand it now. So once the public have access into that building, school is a public building, even private schools. Because there are people are exposed to different risks there. And that's why we have this compulsory insurance for public building. Maybe when next we have enough time, we'll really discuss public buildings in details.
I know there will be next time, but those buildings that are not insured,
Yes.
even though there is legislation that they should be insured, what can be done to them?
Well, for now, like I was saying earlier, there must be this relationship between the agreed relationship
Okay.
between the agency in charge of enforcement, the insurance company, who is the operator, and as other agencies are going. We talk about building. We have building control agencies.
Yeah.
But the fact that for building control is when you want to build that you approach them. After building, you don't approach them. I think we must set up another rules that says maybe every year you need to come. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest here. It may not be. It depends on the government. Come and apply for renewal of your approval. So that when you apply for renewal, your insurance requirement will be part of the process for renewal. If you don't have it, it is not approved. Then there must be a monitoring thing. It could be very expensive. You can take samples. Most of these big institutions with big buildings, let's send monitoring team there, just to examine if they have this policy in force. If they don't have it, then go and we give them time frame to go and have this policy in force.
Okay. I think, like I had, one of the benefits of also having the insurance is not because of the aftermath of what happened when the building collapsed. It's because insurance also gives advice on how you can protect the building from collapsing or from having fire. I want you to comment on that.
Yeah, that's talking about risk management.
Okay.
If you approach the insurance company for placement of your risk, they have experts in risk management who goes to assess the property,
Okay.
analyze it, and evaluate it as well, and take a position whether to accept the business. Because it may be compulsory, they may not accept the business.
Okay.
Until certain things are existing, that will make them accept the business. So it's very important, yes, to ensure that we have that in place. And apart from compulsory insurance, those insurances that are not compulsory, insurance of a property building against fire is not compulsory. But then if you approach the insurance company, they send in their expert, the surveyors, to go and assess that particular buildings. And we have the experts who can examine the building and tell you that the composition of the construction has a defect. And they would now recommend that you go and rectify that defect before insurance is placed.
Better.
They even tell that you need to put in fire extinguisher at a particular location or in a particular place. They may even recommend fire hydrants that should be installed. Any building that is more than 2-story building must have a fire hydrant. Because most of the time when the firefighters, when they approach the seat of fire, it's called that they don't have water to extinguish the fire, or probably they've exhausted their water. But if there is a fire hydrant, they can tap water from that fire hydrant and the fire will be extinguished.
Okay, let's talk about the informal sector within the time frame of this discussion. How can we use insurance to protect the investment of the informal sector?
For the informal sector, I think they do more in terms of driving revenue than the public sector. But because their revenue comes in trickles.
Yes.
And they equally invest a lot of money in their business. We see them as entrepreneurs. And it's important that that entrepreneur protect his business. We need to identify what are the risk exposure of this entrepreneur. Let's take example for a man who has a shop and what he sells is telephone and telephone accessories and laptop.
Okay.
The most important thing is where the shop is located, that could be robbery, that could be burglary. He will need to do theft and burglary insurance. What are they protecting? To ensure that he is compensated if the shop is burgled and his property are stolen. 1. 2, he might have a vehicle that is used in delivery. He has to insure the vehicle, not even third party this time, comprehensive, so that if the vehicle is stolen, he doesn't begin to carry cap in his hand and be begging for money. Insurance will indemnify him. The vehicle that is being used for delivery will move that good from one point to another. You know, we said theft for the shop.
Yes.
But now it's now moving it from in the course of moving it, anything could happen to those products. So he needs goods in transit insurance. Haven't done that. This same man, haven't sold, he's collecting cash. He will need to move his money to the bank. In the course of moving money to the bank, anything could happen. So what will he need? He will need money insurance. They may have 3 or 4 staff. They work with him. It is mandatory that he has group life insurance for his staff.
So it's the job of the insurance brokers to assess the business and advise on the insurance policy to buy.
Yes. He recommends appropriate products of insurance to buy.
Okay.
He equally recommends the insurance company to place the business with. And during the dark spot, the broker will be there to assist the insured in the processing of his claim.
Wonderful. Mr. Tunde Thomas, this is where we are going to draw the curtains on this segment of the show. We want to thank you very much for finding time to join us on Nigerian's economy. And as we have said, that we have to take some time to discuss the building insurance. Obviously, we are going to invite you to come and trash building insurance for us. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. This is where we are going to draw the curtain for this particular segment. When we come back, we'll continue with another important topic on Nigerian's economy today. Please don't go away.